What is happening, hip cats and hip kittens? This is your good buddy, John the Commentator from Linwood Wrestling Legends. And here's something you might not know about the color commentary business. It doesn't pay that much, so sometimes your old buddy John has to take a side hustle, and that's exactly what we are doing today. We are being paid the princely sum of $30 to power wash this van. That might sound like chump change to some of you, but that's 20 bottles of off-brand cola right there. Or 10 packs of Sour Patch Kids if you get them on special. Or 5 packs of Sour Patch Kids and 10 bottles of off-brand cola. Either way, it's enough to keep your buddy John in off-brand cola and Sour Patch Kids for quite some time. And check this out, folks. Some helpful individual left us a 1-liter bottle of metal cleaner, and we are gonna use it to get all that stubborn dirt out of those hubcaps. Although it does seem a little cruel that they only left us 1 liter. If they actually cared about getting this van clean, they would have left us a little more, but we do what we can with what we got. The tools at our disposal are a little humble, but that doesn't mean we can't give this van a good leisurely scrub. And let's get a bit of a butcher's at that license plate there. I think it says PW Sophia. So that's either somebody named Sophia owns this and is a power washer, or this is a power washing company and we are in Sofia, Bulgaria. I could swear I was in Linwood when I started this job, but for all I know, I could have traveled through a wormhole to Sofia, Bulgaria. These things can and do happen, and that's why you gotta be so careful when you accept a job to power wash somebody's van. Make sure you're not stepping through a wormhole. Although I do find it a little strange that we have to clean the roof of this van. You never know, maybe the owner's really short and they never see the top of the van, and we could just get away with leaving it dirty. But as the more eagle-eyed of you may have noticed, I have developed superpowers and I can see dirt. Well, I could see dirt before, but now I can make it glow, and doesn't it look snazzy? And I can't help noticing that this is a power washing van, and there is a real irony about a power washing van getting dirty. It's like a fire station burning down. And I was just thinking before, imagine if you were just sitting in a van minding your own business and some stranger started blasting the windows with a powerful hose or some kind of pressure washer. My god, that would be intimidating. I can just imagine a couple of teenagers maybe fooling around in the van, and then some old guy comes along, sees it and says, "I don't like what you teenagers are doing," and decides to blast the windows with a powerful hose. Not powerful enough to break the windows, but enough to give them a good scare. You never really think about these things, folks. You never really think while you're driving your car, my god, imagine if somebody came up here with a powerful hose and just started blasting my windows. But it's something that can happen to any one of you, and it's something I keep in mind every time I leave the house. But I've got to say, I'm loving that ding sound when you successfully clean a part of the van. Once you hear that, you will care for little else in this life. And as it stands, while I wait for next week's show at Linwood Wrestling Legends, this is my life for now, and I am all about that ding. We just had a really massive PLE over at Linwood Wrestling Legends, and if you haven't seen it, why the hell not? But in the meantime, I got a little downtime until the next show, and I'm a little hard up for money. So I thought, what better way to celebrate and unwind than to blast the filth off a stranger's van for the pricely sum of $30. Did I say pricely or princely? I don't even know anymore. I don't really know who this van belongs to, but they should be absolutely ashamed of themselves for letting it get to that condition. And believe me, they are going to get an earful from me after this job is finished. Maybe that'll hurt my chances for repeat business. But folks, when you see injustice, sometimes you just gotta speak out. And you may be wondering what that strange growling sound in the background is. Well, over at Linwood Wrestling Legends, we've had a lot of problems with a rogue fox terrier who snuck into the shows without paying and started causing mayhem. Well, it looks like he followed me through the wormhole and he wants to tag in with this adventure. But if he thinks I'm gonna share that $30 with him, he is in for a lot of disappointment. He is just gonna have to start a power washing company of his own. And to be honest, it'll probably do a lot better than my power washing company. After all, this is the first and only job I've had. And when you look at the two of us, he makes a much better mascot than I do, So if anything, I should be concerned about this interloper stealing my business and stepping on my hustle. I mean, how would you like it if you started a business and a fox terrier just showed up and took all your business? And it's not just even fox terriers, or even dogs for that matter. Cats are getting pretty entrepreneurial these days, and we've all got to watch out. I forget where it is exactly, but I know there's some place in the world where there's a raccoon who's doing very well for himself as a moneylender. Maybe I should have asked him for a loan to get some better equipment, because this equipment I got right now is not cutting it. But the real irony here is what I want most is a rag and a sponge, and maybe a bucket of water. Sometimes you just need to get in there with your bare hands and clean out all the nooks and crannies. And folks, I am going to take a really unpopular opinion here, but I am of the opinion that nobody should be using pressure washers on senior citizens. If they can't fit it in the tub, just wait till it rains and send them outside with a bar of soap. Disagree with me all you want in the comments, folks, but that's just how I sees it. And we are 85% clean. And now I'm starting to realize that I really should have charged by the hour, and then we could just drag this merry little adventure out. But never to mind. The sooner we get this done, the sooner we can go get some off-brand cola and Sour Patch Kids. I can just taste that $30 right now. And who knows, maybe if we make this van really sparkle, the guy who paid me to do it will recommend me to his friends. Assuming he has friends. God, I hope he has friends. Oh, I love hearing that ding. I cannot describe to you how satisfying that sound is. It's one of those things that I never knew that I needed before, but now that I have heard it, I have a deep spiritual need down in my soul to hear that ding again and again. If I wanted to, I could probably take the $30 I'm getting paid for this job and buy one of those little desk bells that goes ding, but if I did that, there would be less Sour Patch Kids and off-brand cola, so that's a no-go. I wouldn't even have to do this at all if my boss, General Manager Todd Sorensen, paid me just a little more. You wouldn't believe some of the crap I have to put up with doing the color commentary for the wrestling, and I don't get paid nearly enough for it. Folks, the path of a wrestling color commentator is a lonely road, and as noted philosopher Willie Nelson once said, them that don't know him won't like him, and them that do sometimes won't know how to take him. If that makes any sense. I forget how the rest of that song goes, but there's a general theme about not wanting one's babies to grow up and become cowboys. I don't know about you, but if I have any children out there that I'm not currently aware of, I'd be stoked if they grew up to become cowboys or cowgirls. Not everybody in the world can be a doctor or a lawyer or an architect, and not everybody should try. So if you've got a kid that you know is not going to make it to med school or law school, but you're pretty sure they'd make a really sweet cowboy, then sometimes you just gotta let your babies grow up to be cowboys. You know, as somebody who regularly gives unsolicited parenting advice to a crowd of rude, inebriated wrestling fans, I think that's possibly the best unsolicited parenting advice I've ever given. Usually the parenting advice I give is something along the lines of, hey, that's a really ugly kid you got there. Maybe you should take him back and try and swap him for a better one. If more of the crowds at Linwood Wrestling Legends took that advice on board, maybe there'd be a lot less ugly children by the ringside. Now, I'm not saying ugly children shouldn't attend wrestling shows, but there's got to be some way to give them a little friendly nudge towards the back rows. Usually we fill out those back rows with cadavers we rent from the morgue, but now that I think about it, it would be a lot cheaper just to fill out those back rows with ugly children, and we are done! We have officially made $30. And when I say we, I mean me. I have made $30. You, on the other hand, have just watched me make $30. And there is no way in hell I am sharing my off-brand cola or Sour Patch Kids with you. But thanks for watching. I appreciate it.